So now that you've either installed the Excel connector or the Google Sheets connector, you can go to Google Sheets or Excel. And if you're in Excel, you'll see the Syft tab at the top right. So you can click on that Syft tab, and then you'll need to sign into your account. So if you click on My Account, it will load it on the right-hand side for you, and you'll need to sign in to your account. If you set up two-factor authentication on your account, you'll need to go and insert that PIN much the same way you do when you're signing into Syft, and it will now log you into Syft and load all your accounts. You can then go and find the entity that we created on Syft, so short video example, there it is. And now you'll see we have various options. So the connector has lots of different functionalities which you can explore in separate videos. We've got a whole bunch of options over here, but what we want to do is upload data to Syft. So we're going to click on upload data to Syft, and we want to upload a trial balance specifically. So we've clicked on that, and now we need to make sure we've selected the correct entity, which we have, and we then need to select the upload type, which I'll explain in a minute. We then need to select the sheet that we want to generate this template in. So we're going to go and select your data because it will populate a new sheet. What I have here is the data that I want to upload, but we need to make sure it's in Syft's format. So now we're going to click on generate template. And then we need to select the interval. So do we want to upload monthly, quarterly, or yearly data? I suggest where possible, you upload monthly data. In this example, we have yearly data, so we'll just select yearly for the purpose of this video. But again, I suggest you use monthly because you can always group it into annual information, but you can't break annual information down into monthly information. You then need to go and select the interval, so monthly, quarterly, or yearly. I suggest you always use monthly wherever possible because you can always group the information on Syft up into annual information, but you can't break it down into monthly information. You're then going to select whether you want it to be single column information or debits and credits. So you can choose either, it would just depend on how your information is formatted. I'm going to select single. We then need to select the start and end date. So what time period are we uploading this data for? So I'm going to upload it for January 2023 to March 2023, and then I'm going to select the sheet, and again we'll make it your data, which means Syft will populate a new sheet. We're then going to click generate template. Now you're going to see a bunch of options at the bottom. This is your data tab where we need to input the data. It gives us some instructions as well. We also have an example of cumulative and movement, and I'm going to explain that to you. And then you also have an example of how you can classify your data. Now, very importantly, your data tab, you'll see that the first tab is grayed out, and that's because you shouldn't be inputting any information from there. You should only input from this row 3, and you'll see it has drop downs. And so you need to input this drop down information. You can't just go and type information in because then it will error out. And so you need to then go and include the information you want. So I'm going to go and include this information here. So I can put the numbers in. So I've got input data. It makes sense because I've selected single column, but now I need to go and allocate these. So what I suggest is you go and copy in the account name. So let's go copy that in. And now we would need to go and allocate this. So we would then go and say that this is a non-current asset, that this is property, plant, and equipment. And you only need to do this the first time you upload the information, because going forward, when the template is generated, it will generate all this information that you've already put on Syft. So I've already gone and used Syft dropdowns to kind of populate this. So I'm just going to paste it in because I'm using the dropdowns. Please note you can't go and paste in standard other income cell. It needs to be the dropdown. You see, once I've pasted it, I still have those dropdowns. Okay, so once you've gone and done your classification, so you said that's cost of sales and then that's variable expenses, then you have populated your template, and now we'd be ready to go and upload this information. So we are on this page here. We want to validate the information, but before we do that, let's quickly just make sure that we actually have selected the correct upload type. So what's the difference between cumulative and year to date? Well, let's go look at the cumulative example. So the cumulative example is showing the year to date value or the cumulative value. So over here we have sales of 200,000, and then we have sales of 420,000. And what that means is in February we made sales of 220,000 because we are looking at the year-to-date sales or the cumulative amount. If we look at the movement example, you'll see that we'll only put January sales of 200 and February sales of 220 because we would be showing the movement. Let's quickly go look at an example of both the cumulative and movement method to make sure you have selected the appropriate one when uploading your data. So let's start by looking at the movement method. So that would be if you selected this option. And here in this example entity has made 200,000 sales in Jan and 220,000 sales in Feb and 240,000 in March. So we're going to put how much the sales were for each period. And at the end of March, we have a total of 660,000 worth of sales. But we're not showing that total in March, we're showing the movement for each period. That's different to the cumulative example, because here you'll see in Jan we have 200,000, in Feb we have 420,000 because we had a movement of 220,000. That differs to the cumulative example, because here we're always going to put the total sales to that date. So here we have 200,000, and in Feb, because we sold 220,000, we now have a cumulative sales of 420,000. And in March, when we add up Jan and Feb's movement, plus March's movement, we get to 660. So that's just an example to show you the difference. With my data, I have cumulative data for each of the months. So I'm going to go and select cumulative, and then I'm going to click validate, and you'll see it says the validation is successful. If, for example, I did not had a value in here, if I click validate, you'll see that it failed because that column doesn't balance. So I'm just going to undo. You can then go and clear that error, revalidate, and now it would be successful. We can then go and click upload, and it will now go and upload this information. And so now when we go to Syft to Shorts video example, this data would have been uploaded. So let's go and refresh. And if we go to financials, let's go annual financial year. We're in Shorts video example, and now you'll see the data has been uploaded for the various months. So that's how you can upload information to a trial balance entity on Syft using Syft's Excel or Google Sheets connector.